for some peace of mind. But TikTok said a gator drove a jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat. And someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line. And Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. Oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just...
Good morning, everyone. I hope you are having a great... I'm like, what is today? Wednesday? Nailed it. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Wolfram, and I'm glad you're back from your mandatory training. And welcome, Granny Smith. You are new, or you are early, not new. New is how I feel today. Jeffrey, good morning, and David Nielsen and Jeffrey Montgomery, I already said that, but welcome again. Tammy C.A. and Greedy Bloke and Jason J. and Colorado Mountain Girl. We have got a lot of news, and I don't think that Lord Chippy needs to be summoned because I think Snake Island could deal with everyone that we have to deal with today. But on an alarming note, since I manage to get less accomplished than most functional humans every day, apparently we're going to have less time to do it, which is always comforting. Welcome, Audio Coffee and 80s Music Man. And, let's just get into this. Apparently the Earth's rotation is speeding up for 3 days this summer, starting today. So they would plan a scheduled speed up for Prime days. I see how you're trying to get us, Jeff Bezos, and I am not your weird looking wife. So stop trying to, get out of Prime Day, damn it. Planet Earth will spin a little faster on 3 separate days this summer, starting today. So this will technically result in shorter days, but the change will be so minuscule that you won't even notice. Several milliseconds will be shaved off the 24 hours on average it takes for the Earth to complete a full rotation. We're talking even less time than a blink of an eye. Now, why is the Earth's, speed of rotation changing? Well, that's math, and I don't do that. But they did that for the article. So our Earth is our timekeeper, but it's not perfect. It takes our planet about 24 hours one day to complete one full rotation on its axis, which breaks down to about 86,400 seconds. And oh my God, if you saw Rent or were a theater kid in the 90s, you know that. That being said, the Earth's rotation could change by at least a millisecond every 2 days. So we could at least be spared from that song once in a while. Now, the orbit of the moon can also affect how fast the Earth is spinning, as our planet spins quicker when the moon is farther to the north or south of the equator. That's cool. Again, I didn't know that. This isn't even enough to make half a leap year or a really long mom break for me. So I'm kind of not all that worried about it. But you should be just a scotch worried. Again, I don't understand the gravitosity of this, but apparently an 8.9 magnitude earthquake that struck Japan in 2011 accelerated the Earth's rotation, shortening the length of a standard 24-hour day by 1.8 microseconds. So apparently we can slow down time, and the Earth really did move for at least some people. Now, these teeny day-to-day fluctuations in the Earth's spin began to be measured in the 1950s with atomic clocks, and any number above or below the standard 86,400 seconds is called length of day. Now, the shortest day ever recorded was July 5th, 2024, when the Earth completed its full rotation at least 1.66 milliseconds faster than the standard. That being said, they are saying that it's simply because the moon will be its furthest distance from the Earth's equator, resulting in a bit of a fluctuation in its rotation. Sounds like a lot of math for not a lot of, again, if I don't get like a mom nap out of it, I'm not too worried. In other news I teased, which is almost, if you had Alex Jones crying on your bingo card, let me know because I also need to run some lotto numbers by you. But, well, that didn't work as wonderfully as I'd planned out. But Alex Jones was crying yesterday. He did put out a post. I, like the rest of people, are a little confused. I'm a little confused as how Ghislaine is in jail for trafficking people to no one. And I was kind of reliably told by politicians who I don't believe that they would be releasing this stuff. And I remember binders where people looked like jackasses saying that they had new information. So if you had Alex Jones crying, I mean, I don't know, take a penny out of the Alex Jones was right thing and put it in saving for Kleenex for Alex Jones. I don't know. The whole thing is royally pissed me off, but I know it's a hot button subject. I would just think that, a complex and highly evolved society would be able to take care of its children and its vulnerable people. But, I mean, when those vulnerable people are our politicians, won't someone think of the children? Yes, that's why we want the list. You just won't give it to us. Sorry for this hot take on Mo thinks that everyone should know her thoughts, but it pisses me off. I don't like monsters that walk free. There is no segue to this, so this is in no way related to the coming story. The cause of death for Michael Madsen has been released after the actor was found dead at 67. Now, I did see these reports come out last week, but there is always a little bit of a lag as to what was the cause. I mean, we're still waiting for specifics in Anne Burrell, so I did want to wait until there was a little bit more information, especially after we've gone through what we went through with all the celebrity deaths this year. I mean, just amazing. Michael Madsen's cause of death has been revealed now 5 days after the Reservoir Dog and Kill Bill actor was passed away at his home in Malibu, California at the age of 67. Now, NBC4 Los Angeles reported on Tuesday, July 8th, that his cardiologist had said he died of heart failure. Now, according to the outlet, his doctor said that the heart failure will be listed as his cause of death, along with exacerbation from alcoholism and heart disease contributing as factors. Now, the NBC affiliate reported that an autopsy will not be conducted because his cardiologist signed off on his death certificate. Los Angeles Sheriff's Department has closed its investigation into his death and listed his death as natural causes. So incredibly sad, and hopefully, if you're struggling with addiction, you have the spirit and willingness to change, but these can be lifelong patterns that are incredibly hard to break. We understand that Michael had a cardiac arrest and was found unresponsive in his Malibu home earlier this morning. His manager, Ron Smith, said in a statement at the time. Now, the Donnie Brasco's actors' managers, Smith and Susan Ferris, plus publicist Liz Rodriguez, issued a statement after his dying saying that he was one of Hollywood's most iconic actors and will be missed by many. In the last 2 years, he's been doing some incredible work with independent films, including upcoming features like Resurrection Road, Concessions, and Cookbook for Southern Housewives. Yeah, James Marston, Cookbooks for Southern Housewives, just like Dame Maggie Smith. They're okay, just not a whole lot of things that I would figure that would intersect there. But there you go. Now, he was also preparing to release a new book called Tears for My Father, Outlaw Thoughts and Poems, that is currently being edited. Now, aside from many Tarantino projects, he's mainly known for his roles as Jimmy Lennox in Thelma and Louise, Glenn Greenwood in Free Willy, and perhaps most famously, Dominic Sonny Black Napolitano in Donnie Brasco. Tributes to Madsen poured in after the news of his death was made public, including from his sister, Virginia Madsen, who said in a statement to Variety, "My brother Michael has left the stage. He was thunder and velvet, mischief wrapped up in tenderness, a poet disguised as an outlaw, a father, son, and brother etched in contradiction, tempered by love that left its mark. We're not mourning a public figure," she went on to say. "We're not mourning a myth, but a flesh and blood man with a ferocious heart, who stormed through life, loud, brilliant, and half on fire, who leaves us echoes guff and brilliant, unrepeatable, a half legend, half lullaby." She also concluded with, "I'll miss our inside jokes, the sudden laughter, the sound of him. I'll miss the boy he was before the legend. I'll miss my big brother. Thank you for everyone reaching out with love and memory. In time we'll share how we plan to celebrate his life, but for now we stay close and we let the silence say what words can't." And honest to goodness, that is possibly one of the most heartfelt tributes to a person who I never met, but you could really feel her love and her kind of understanding of who he was as a person, maybe the rough bits that other people didn't quite understand and where they came from. So that was a very lovely thing to read. In other news and breaking story, now, while we are probably going to be waiting for possibly another year to year and a half to get the final NTSB report, along with India's counterpart to the National Safety Transportation Board, it does look like at least an initial culprit for the Air India jet crash might have been fuel switches. A preliminary report into the deadly crash of Air India jetliner in June is expected to be released by Friday. Now, 3 sources with knowledge of the matter said, with one adding that the probe had narrowed its focus down to the movement of the plane's fuel control switches. Now, the London-bound Boeing 787 Dreamliner, which started losing height after reaching an altitude of just 650 feet, crashed moments after takeoff from Ahmedabad, India, unfortunately taking nearly everyone on board the plane. So 241 people passed away, with one person managing to kind of slip out between when the plane crashed and hit a building. I don't know, but it was just a miracle beyond miracles that this particular passenger is here. Now, the investigation into Air India's crash is focusing on the movement of fuel control switches following an analysis of the 787 flight and voice data recorders, along with a simulation by Boeing of the aircraft's final moments. So this indicates to me, and I may be the only weirdo who watches Mayday air disasters like it's my job because it relaxes me. Look, a team of psychiatrists would have a field day with my behind. But it does seem, based on this initial report coming out, they were able to get both the flight control recorder and the cockpit voice recorder. English. It's a thing I used to do. So it does seem like they were able to get both of the colloquially, known black boxes and have been able to get that information fairly quickly, which does indicate a little bit to me that they were probably not as damaged. So they have been able to get those out fairly quickly. Now, the investigation has not released any immediate concerns over a sort of fleet-wide or this particular model of Boeing 787s having an overall mechanical deficiency or failure at these fuel pumps. Those would typically be put out. They would maybe ground a fleet if they found that this was going to be something along a sort of whole model line. But this looks like it might be just very individualistic to this airplane. Now, aviation industry publication of the air current first reported on the focus of the fuel switches that help power the plane's two engines. Now, it's not clear what specific actions involving the fuel switches are being looked at. Sources told Air Current that the available information on the black boxes could not rule out an improper, inadvertent, or intentional sort of pilot behavior, but they were looking at this as a possible mechanical component. Again, maybe they haven't gone fully through the voice recorder, and I do think that certain airlines have a sterile cockpit sort of policy up until cruising altitude. So that means that I would be impossible to be a pilot because you only talk about like aviation stuff in your checklist until you get to a certain height. I'm too much of a chatterbox. It is interesting for them to be letting this information out this quickly. I was resigning myself to, pretty much wait until 1 or 2 years from now and any possible inquiry. Now, for those of you who are kind of wondering why the NTSB is even in Air India, because it was a Boeing jet. Any airplane or aircraft that is manufactured in America, if they crash, the NTSB does go over and do their own investigation as well. Now, I believe we might have found a miracle this Wednesday. We might have found the most Florida of Florida man. And he might be, well, we might need to call Jesus because this man is Florida man.
The key keep its grove, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack glistening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
If your scavenger hunt today included most Florida of Florida man, I believe we found the story, and you can mark that off of your, scavenger checklist. A Florida man celebrated his birthday by stealing a tour train and picking up passengers, among other things. I mean, if you're gonna party, party hard. It's Florida. Nothing parties like a rental. A Florida man who allegedly stole a tour train and picked up passengers while he was high on crystal later told cops that it was his birthday. I mean, you're going to throw that gambit out. It works once a year. According to an arrest report obtained by local ABC affiliate WPLG, police responded to reports from a Conch tour train depot in Key West on July 4th. That one of their trains had been stolen. Yes, an entire train stolen. The vehicle was being tracked around the city by a GPS monitor that was attached to it, and when officers arrived, employees said that a man had arrived at the depot and claimed to be a former employee. The man asked if he could go on a tour of the Conch train, and the employee, they said, sure, why not? Then he allegedly drove off with the train, as you do. Now, it was his 57th birthday. Jonathan Patrick Winslow was celebrating his little heart out. Now, according to the arrest report, Winslow had left his Kia at the depot while running with rock music still playing on the radio. Now, his alleged joyride didn't last too long, just long enough for him to pick up two randos who might not have realized that their, train conductor was not the original one. I mean, no offense, and I'm not an observationalologist, but I see a man with this particular Gary Busey hairdo. I'm going to assume he is not, I'm going to assume that we are not making it home on this train. Now, police said at some point he did leave the train, which was located without incident. they soon located him because being on crystal means you don't run away from the scene of your crime, apparently, where he was excitedly and rapidly speaking very loudly. Officers informed Winslow that he could be facing charges for taking the train, to which he reportedly said, "I just borrowed it," adding that it was his birthday that day. As you do. I mean, everyone steals a train on their birthday. Now, according to the arrest report, police were unmoved by his, birthday celebrations, negating his felonious behavior. So he was taken to jail. He was searched, and lo and behold, apparently he had gotten a gift for himself that kept on giving a crystal pipe. Now, he reportedly shouted out in order to, his criminal mastermind coming out, "No, it's for the devil's lettuce, I promise." Apparently, the cops were also unmoved with, someone gave it to me as a friend, and they know I like weed. He was charged with burglary, theft, misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia, and is being held in the Monroe County Jail on $60,000 bond. I mean, they could have made it $57,000 just to give him like his birthday nod. That being said, I believe this might be the ultimate final form Florida man. If you are looking for final form, Florida man Pokemon, we have found him. I'm making a card. I got a laminator. I'm going to figure this out. Now, I don't know what to make. I want to rant about this next particular article because who the hell do you think you are, young man? And I am of an age where I can say young man to anyone who looks vaguely near to drinking age. Now, Jack Sloshberg, who cannot seem to keep his mouth just shut the hell up from ever opening and, disgorging the stupid that lines up, from his mouth hole. But he decided to mock his grandmother, Jacqueline Onassis's pain over, his former grandfather, or, well, maybe Schlossberg he's an Onassis, I don't know. But the former president stepping out on her with everybody, and I mean everybody. So this little twerp decided to, get on, the internets as you do, and make fun of his grandmother's personal pain by just, airing his take on their dirty laundry everywhere. Again, son, you're not that important. Your grandma was. I mean, she is the reason I thought that frosted pink lipstick was classy, and my family taught that for a long time. So I'm gonna need you to keep Jackie O's name out your mouth, son, because so far all you've managed to accomplish with your life is hot takes of stupidity, in my opinion. Jack Sloshberg, a Kennedy heir known for making wild public statements on social media, fired his gob off about his late grandmother, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, in an offbeat Instagram post about her troubled personal life on Monday. Because, those personal tragedies that just make real, tears. Now, he took a photo of a People magazine cover from July 7th featuring his grandmother standing behind his grandfather, JFK, with a headline, "Jackie Knew Everything." Now, the 32-year-old Kennedy, do you have a real job? Is his job just being a douchey Kennedy? I mean, again, what is it you do besides be a Kennedy? I don't know. He just recaptioned the post saying Jackie was right about everything, alluding to the former First Lady knowing about her husband's alleged affair with pop culture icon Marilyn Monroe. Now, Jackie allegedly knew about JFK's long-rumored relationship with Monroe and confronted him about it while he was in office. Now, according to J. Randy Tamborelli, author of a new biography on the 35th president, JFK Public, Private, and Secret, it alleges that Jackie once told Kennedy, "This one's different, Jack. This one worries me." And that's from someone who was right there in the White House who overheard the conversation, Tamborelli told the outlet. That was reported to me 25 years ago when I was writing an earlier book, Jackie, Ethel, and Joan. While the affair between the sex symbol and the former president has been long rumored, Tamborelli claimed that Jackie didn't know if JFK was involved with her or not, but assumed it. And what I do know is after Jackie died, or Marilyn died, Jackie was bereft. Now, Schlossberg is the only grandson of Jackie, who passed away in 1994 of cancer at the age of 64. I mean, again, I don't know what this man does other than offer his own personal hot takes. Now, people, you're dirty for doing it too. I really don't need to know about people's personal marriage F-ups. That being said, if given the hall pass, I might go for Maryland too. So, I mean, I just wouldn't share her with my brother. That's just all sorts of weird. But there you go. A Kennedy doing, well, not even a Kennedy, he's a Schlossberg, which I don't really care what your last name is, but don't be putting your grandma's pain. Like when the hillbilly among us, when the hillchucks know that there are some things that aren't, a hot take, it makes me wonder what you high class people really think. Because honestly, we were raised with enough manners to know that you didn't talk about granddad stepping out on grandma, on people. I mean, we try to keep it to the Piggly Wiggly and the Hib, if you ask me. Well, and again, stories I did not have on my bingo list. They just kind of find me. Gary Coleman's ex-wife did not do very well on a polygraph about the incidents surrounding his death, or kind of the wonkiness surrounding his death. Now, on January 14th, 2025, the ex-wife of late actor Gary Coleman took a polygraph test administered by a former FBI agent. Ooh, Coffin Danger, did you do the polygraph? I could see Coffin Danger being all over this. And a veteran polygraph examiner, George Ovalio, as part of A&E's lie detector Truth or Deception. Now, she was questioned on the details surrounding Coleman's fatal fall in 2010, and she didn't do well. However, for those of you who are new to true crime, polygraphs are not admissible in court. They are greater than 50%, but only if you basically, they're not foolproof. This is in no way a truth detector and should be given about the weight that it's given on every Maury Povich, is he the dad or not, lie detector test. So it turns out that she didn't do too well on questions such as, did you ever lay hands on Gary during your relationship? She answered no, and that was inconclusive. So didn't score, so basically she wasn't anxious enough to be fully deceptive, but she was not either calm enough to be considered telling the truth. Did you intentionally decide to withhold help to Gary when he fell? Now again, no, and again inconclusive. And then did you cause Gary's fall physically? Did you physically cause Gary to fall that day? She answered no, and failed with deception indicated to those relevant issues. Now, again, this is not admissible. This man could be a pro. This man could have done it for 40 years. But there are going to be inherent biases and sort of patterns that he has subconsciously or consciously picked up, which is why this is magic and about as akin to me pretending to be Miss Cleo as anything else on, the interwebs. Now, in his own setting, without time constraints of a TV show, Oveo said he would have re-asked Price the inconclusive questions until he got a satisfactory answer. Ultimately, he and the producers compromised, and he got to ask his primary question first, the third one shown in the episode transcribed above, so the one that asked if she actually did lay hands on him and cause the fall. Now, he would have continued to retest her. It turns out he didn't need to because Price is not telling her full truth. Again, if you believe in polygraphs, meh. Now, Price took the polygraph to, in her words, address persistent public suspicion regarding her potential involvement into his passing, even though she was never charged. So again, very, very hard. Well, yeah. Celestial Force, I'm trying to bypass DV, but yes, the words and the terms of words are so very important. That was my favorite thing about Bob Alessi as a lawyer, because he took the time to come to a common understanding of whatever terms that the witness, whether it was his own witness or, the state's witness, what do you mean by this? Let's define this. And I really like that because some terms can be so incredibly vague or mean different things in different specialities. So I really like that. For what it's worth, I don't know anything about their marriage and I don't trust polygraphs. So there you go. But it is interesting news. I mean, I'm kind of glad I'm not a big coffee drinker now. Your risk of developing an incurable blinding condition goes up about 700% if you prefer this kind of coffee. Don't say anything cheap from a gas station. 99-cent gas station special, please don't fail me now. Whether you're a latte lover or a mocha monster or an espresso elitist, people have strong preferences when it comes to coffee. But what if we told you that your choice of coffee isn't simply a matter of taste? Okay. In an eye-opening study published recently in the Journal of Food Science and Nutrition, there was findings that drinking instant coffee may dramatically increase your risk of age-related macular degeneration, or AMD, the leading cause of age-related blindness. Now, researchers analyzed data from over 500,000 participants in a UK biobank and discovered that instant coffee drinkers with a certain genetic predisposition were 700. Well, if you have a genetic predisposition to going blind and macular degeneration, what you drink isn't going to help you. If you have a genetic, I am not a scienceologist. If I have to point out the very simple, like correlation doesn't equal causation thing here, I'm not in charge of this. The genetic overlap suggests that there might be shared biological pathways or metabolic mechanisms connecting the preference for instant coffee with a risk of developing dry AMD. So there might be a connection into how your taste buds perceive things, and that might actually do it, not just the drinking instant coffee. Now, it is providing new insights into AMD pathogenesis, so kind of the disease sort of journey. So you start off, you're getting sick, then you're sick, then what does it damage? So it's kind of a logic tree for damage that your body has from any sort of disease process. And it can offer personalized direction and prevention strategies when these sort of gene-informed lifestyle, choices are established. If there's a link between, the genetic predisposition and then the weakness of the eye muscles. Now, dry AMD affects the macula, or a small region in the back of the retina responsible for the central, big components of central vision. Now, as it progresses, people can experience blurry spots, difficulty reading, and eventually, possibly, a permanent loss of vision. Now, while risk factors such as age and genetics are beyond our control, lifestyle choices such as diet, exercise, and smoking plays a role as well. Researchers are now adding coffee preferences to the list. Liu, a doctor leading this, noted that it is the leading cause of vision loss amongst older people in industrial nations. And recognizing and managing lifestyle factors is important for understanding and slowing the disease progression, preserving vision and quality of life. Now, findings suggest that when it comes to eyesight, all coffee is not created equal. Coffee is one of the most widely consumed beverages worldwide and is rich in polyphenols and antioxidants. So it might have neuroprotective effects. At the same time, growing evidence shows that genetic influences also influences dietary preferences. So, studying the genetic predisposition to what you like as coffee versus, your maybe family history of macular degeneration would be better. But this is definitely a first step. And as I'm not a big coffeeologist, I don't drink any coffee, so I'm going to be seeing stuff until I'm 80. I'm going to see all of you. I'm going to be in my little tracksuit, bedazzled, rhinestoned, hitting on pool boys. I have my whole life set out for me, and I'll just never drink instant coffee. And welcome, Shizzy Raiders. Well, so Shore Life Creations, not as prawny as the initial headline makes it out to be, but apparently if you do prefer the taste of instant coffee, you might have a predisposition to, as you age, what's called dry AMD, so macular degeneration that causes age-related blindness. But it's more of a factor of scientists believe that there's a link between, what tastes better to you and having a predisposition towards this blindness. Yeah, I mean, Mayday relaxes me, okay? And I'll explain why, because Mr. Mo was like, you watch this to relax, you're a serial killer. And I was like, no, I'm not. Here's what I like. And maybe it's because I deeply do wonder if I am like weird mentally. So I have to sit back and try to figure out, okay, how do I justify this? I don't know how many people justify their life choices at 3 a.m. While they can't sleep, but that is when I pencil in all of my existential crises. I like that they find an answer most of the time to why a plane crashes and make changes to where it never happens again. Now, that being said, I just like the actual dogged determination and that they find answers. And I think it's sciencey without getting into the math, if I can be real honest with you. So that's why I like, Mayday Air Disaster as a relaxing show. Mr. Mo is like, you are really weird. And I was like, you're just figuring this out? Now, they're not quite up to Lord Chippy, but they do need to go to Snake Island because they can't play with our toys and they can't stay here.
It's a curse, we got room for the wicked, the cruel and the worst. If you lie, if you cheat, if your soul's made of bile, you're bound for the fangs and the venom in style. Oh, one-way ticket to Snake Island. Oh, better conscience, less cowards and gaslighters. Go, no anchor, no lifeboat, no tearful goodbyes. Trust isn't uncommon in cold-blooded skies. Back up your friend.
Well, this one comes from the UK, Scotland to be specific, but a paramedic was sentenced to 10 years in prison after he secretly gave an abortifacient, or it would end a pregnancy, drug to a woman who was pregnant with his child. A paramedic in Scotland who pled guilty to giving a pregnant woman an abortifacient after finding out she was having his child has been sentenced to 10 years and 6 months in prison. Stephen Doohan, 33, learned his fate at High Court in Glasgow on Monday, July 7th, when he was sentenced to 10 years and 6 months in prison after previously having pled guilty to assault to injury, SA, and procuring an abortion. A spokesperson for the Scottish Courts and Tribunal Service confirmed to People in a statement. Now, this sentencing comes 2 years after he was accused of administering this drug without consent after finding out that the woman he was dating was pregnant. Now, per the sentencing statement from the presiding sentencing judge, Lord Colbeck Doohan was already married to someone else at the time. He met the victim during a 2021 Ibiza vacation and began a long-distance relationship with her before eventually telling her that he was already married. Now, the woman later discovered she was pregnant on March 14th, 2023, traveling to Edinburgh over 3 days to visit with, this paramedic before they agreed to keep the baby. Now, while they were re-cementing their illicit relationship that night, the woman felt something being inserted into her. Well, that's generally, now, the paramedic, I could understand giving it to her orally. I don't know why you would give her the pill, but to put it up the hoo-ha? No, that's it. I changed my mind. Lord Chippy, this is a Lord Chippy one now.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
Also, this goes to the editor of this particular article, because if he had just put this particular one paragraph on top of the one that I was reading on. So basically, he gave her a muscle relaxant / benzo and got her very, very disorientated and sort of out of it. And instead of doing the real illicit relationship thing, he inserted a plastic syringe with crushed tablets basically in her. So she was so disorientated that she wasn't quite aware. Now, when when the woman finally questioned him as to what had happened, he said he confessed to her what he had done, and she discovered on his phone that he was researching the topic of how to cause a spontaneous miscarriage or abortion. Now, the pair went to visit the hospital on March 18th, and he asked her to lie about what happened per the judge's statement. Sadly and heartbreakingly, the woman was informed that she was experiencing a spontaneous miscarriage at the hospital visit. Now, she later made a complaint to Dewan's employer, Scottish Ambulance Service, in May 2023 ahead of his arrest. As the investigation by the SAS found that day, that the woman told her, boyfriend / husband of another person that she was married, he used a work search to search for drugs that would bring on a miscarriage. Now, he was given a guilty plea, or he put in a guilty plea, and the head judge sentenced him to 10 years and 6 months in prison. Quote, "You have pled guilty to causing your victim to abort. In doing so, you put her through considerable pain over a number of days and have left her facing a lifetime of pain and loss," the judge said in sentencing documents. "The effect of what you did to her are so eloquently set out in the victim's statement provided to court. Anyone reading this statement would be moved to tears by its terms and the raw pain that radiates from it. In addition to physical pain that you caused, your actions have caused clearly significant and long-term psychological injury." Now, according to the BBC, Duhan was suspended from the ambulance service and is no longer employed by them. Well, congratulations, ambulance and service, for firing someone who's going to be in prison for the next 10 years. You've done aces. And heartfeltly and beyond all the petty and all the moe-ness, I hope that this woman is able to find peace and comfort and has support and people who are just willing to sit with her when those waves of grief come, and they are little rat bastards who just sneak up when you think you're like, it's like a good day and you feeling like you're kind of doing okay with life, and then grief is like, she's not paying attention, let's get her, and it's a scrum. So I do hope that she's getting all of the support that she needs, and just the general feeling on and Paul Amos, thank you for being a member for 5 months, not on replay for a change. So yeah, he deserves all the Lord Chippy. I did make a change. Now, the next one, and I'm only doing 2 today, is a young person, so Snake Island for her, but it's still, it's the most god-awful case, y'all. The smallest daughter found them. A teen took the lives of her mother and stepfather while her 6-year-old sister was home with them, police say. And to see eyes of someone that young that are so dead is terrifying. Terrifying. That the innocence and kind of naivete, spiritual, like the spirit of youth is just not, there's nothing behind those eyes. A 17-year-old girl in Georgia is facing murder charges as an adult for allegedly killing both her mother and stepfather, shooting them both inside their own residence, while her younger 6-year-old sister was in the home. Police saying that the younger sister found the bodies. Quote, "To me, she is probably the saddest victim in all of this," said Ashley Husley, a spokesperson for Carroll County Sheriff's Office at Tuesday afternoon press conference while announcing the arrest of Sarah Patrick of Toyce for the deaths of James and Karen Brock in February. Now, Husley said that the younger child was unaware of what happened to her parents, just finding them with multiple gunshot wounds. The smallest daughter found them, and she came and told Sarah, and Sarah made the call to 911. Sarah was always in the home. Now, police went to the Brock residence on February 20th after the call came in from Patrick and found James Brock, 45, and Kristen Brock, 41, both dead. They'd lived there with Patrick and the little girl at the time. Now, mountains of evidence have gotten us here today, they said, noting how James Brock's death was a special case due to the things he managed to live through health-wise before allegedly having his life taken by his stepdaughter. According to his family, he had a lot of heart troubles. He had had numerous heart surgeries. I believe he may have been on a waiting list for a heart transplant at some point. To have his life cut short when he was given so many opportunities to live, to me, that's a big takeaway from this story, that a mother and a stepfather will never be able to raise their children, and the little girl was in the home. Now, Patrick has been charged as an adult with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. Now, Husley, the spokesperson, emphasized that the investigation is still ongoing after reporters asked whether other family members were being looked at as possibly helping Patrick cover up her alleged crimes. Now, questioned as to whether Patrick tried to hide herself what happened, he said, considering that she just didn't immediately tell us what happened, yes, but who knows what's going on in a young person's mind who's like that. Now, the teen's biological father allegedly turned her over to the police this week after authorities told her that she had arrest warrants in the Brock killings. It's very possible that others are involved as well. We are still looking with her, working with investigators and looking through all the evidence. So I don't know what's going on here. I don't know the full story, but this looks like a case that is going to really blow up. It has the potential to be a big case with a young person and possible other. And it does seem to be inferred quite a lot for it to be sort of ramp speculation. But I would like to remind you, this is most speculating on the interwebs. It does seem like they might have some evidence that corroborates that she had some after-the-fact help or help covering up, and probably need to make sure all of that is very well documented and investigated in order for this case to have some kind of closure for that young girl. Obviously, the little 6-year-old is not going to have any of her information released because she is a minor. But it's just a tragic story for that little girl. I don't know, y'all. This next one, like I said, it's the second time this morning. There is no appropriate segue. This upcoming story has no real link to the other story, except that there's a teen involved, tangentially. A teen has gone viral after bringing 200 tortillas on a flight from Texas just went on through. Now, I mean, aren't tortillas kind of something you can get everywhere, even the space station? Asking for a friend. A teenager recently went viral after she showed an unusual dedication to a popular Texas grocery chain and its tortillas. Nashville resident Anna Jones recently boarded a flight from Austin to Tennessee with unconventional cargo. She had over 200 flour tortillas from HEB or the Heb. Is it the Heb or HEB? Like, do y'all call it like is it like the Aldi's here? Is it like the Heb or the Heb? Or do you say like the HEB? I don't, because when I move to Texas, I want to sound like a native, but I want to confuse them. So I'm going to say the Aldi's still. Besides, there might be Baker listening, and he will have an up the spine shiver at the wrongness of how I say these things. I shouldn't be motivated by that, but I am. Now, Jones recorded other people boarding the plane, then confessed her secret to the internet in a video that she posted on June 14th. To all these people and no one, no one knows that I have 200 HEB tortillas in my backpack. Now, Fox reached out to Jones for more detail. Jones revealed to USA Today that hauling tortillas long distances is something of a family tradition. Last time she visited her dad in Texas, he brought about 300 tortillas for her to bring home. Dad, I love you. Thanks for the tortillas. We're going to go home. We bring them home and we freeze them, and we just try not to use a bunch. They normally last about 2 months. Now, she also noted that the TSA didn't give her a hard time with her, backpack full of tortillas, as one always has. I just went right on through, she said. Nothing happened. It was pretty obvious they were all tortillas. I guess this is kind of normal for them. Now, some Texans on TikTok couldn't resist poking fun at Jones's video, which has been viewed more than 668,000 times as of July 7th. One Lone Star State resident asked, "Are you the reason that there's never any left at the store? They better be butter ones." Now, it turns out that Jones isn't the only HEB fan who's gone to great lengths to get, Texas tortillas. I flew with HEB tortillas and HEB goods from San Antonio to Amsterdam, then drove them into Belgium, one person said. I flew with the tortillas from San Antonio to Italy. Hey, tortillas are on my carry-on from San Antonio to Japan and the Philippines. Now, what makes these tortillas so good? The supermarket chain did not respond to Fox News' Digital's request for comment, so I'm going to say love. Love. Not to mention, if we go, if I ever get back on an airplane, which considering I watch Mayday, I probably won't, but I'm going to locate the one person that has all the tortillas, because I know if we land on that little lost island, at least we're going to have carbs, okay? And we don't want to see Mo without carbs. It's a bad thing. It wouldn't be safe for everyone. I mean, forget a polar bear that got lost in the Caribbean. It's going to be Mo without bread. An even scarier sight. Well, I mean, along with airplanes, I don't think I'll be getting in the ocean anymore ever again either. A terrified Massachusetts paddleboarder was able to escape capture with a close encounter with a great white shark just off Cape Cod Beach. That's a no. See, that's a negative, Knight Rider. I am not. No. And this is a real shark. This is not your friend with a shark fin like a jackass. Let's see here. Cronin, a student at the University of Toronto, was recording a video of bulls splashing around when a shark's dorsal fin surfaced, frightening the two friends. "Oh, that wasn't the only word yelled," Bowles said as she jumped on her board, according to the video obtained by WHDH. Now, Bowles and Cronin, two girls, hadn't believed what they had saw and looked back at her photos and the video just to confirm that they almost got shark napped. baby shark, do 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 do. Okay, you know what we need to do? And I mean, I think it would be hilarious on gummies or sober, but if anyone knows how to edit the entire Jaws movie, but instead of dun it, dun it, dun it, we do baby shark, do 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 do. I mean, I can just imagine like the humanity, and it's baby shark, do 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 do. Okay, it would be hilarious to me. Probably not to everyone else, and whoever, oh, Spielberg, I was like, whoever directed it, but it had Richard Dreyfuss playing Richard Dreyfuss in it. So, again, apparently sharks are going to Maine now, and I would say just stay out of the water. Hell, I watched Jaws so much, and I loved Discovery Shark Week in the terrifying way that only, someone landlocked in Indiana can check their local pool to make sure that sharks didn't somehow magic their way into the deep end. But, I mean, I think it is a fried taco kind of day. I'm with you. I could get into that one. Now, I don't know exactly what this is supposed to be, so if I offend any Italians on this one by my atrocious pronunciation of anything multisyllabic, well, just forgive me because, look, y'all, I'm just aiming for purgatory. Meet the heavy lifting and huffing lifters who hoist the 4-ton Giglio? Look, I don't know. I know it's not gigolo, but this is going quite well. I am a semi-professional. At Brooklyn's wild Italian Bacchanal, by the time the day is over, you're just dead. Well, I mean, they do look quite beefy. Is there an entire band just playing on the big old heavy thing? I mean, I'm not trying to be an ass, and this is maybe why I don't understand most participation sports, but couldn't we just put cement blocks under it? Oh my God, my hill check is showing. I am like, y'all, no worries. We got cement blocks. I love that my inner Appalachia's like, no one needs to hold on to that, sweetie. You just need to get you some cement blocks. As you do. Everyone loves a party, and an Italian Brooklyn tradition over a century is Williamsburg Our Lady of Mount Carmel feast that draws thousands to an annual bacchanal of sausage, peppers, and a spectacle courtesy of the festival's main character. I'm going to say the Giglio or Gigolo, but I'm pretty sure there's Mary and the Pope on it, so I know it's probably not a gigolo. This is going swimmingly. Just swimmingly. This is worse than when I sent people to ICMEL, and I still am vaguely unsure if I'm saying that right. This is A news right here. I mean, would Bill O'Reilly have gotten this confused as words? No, he wouldn't. He'd just do it live. But apparently it is a 4-ton, 72-foot statue that is danced through the sweltering streets by a team of 120 men known as lifters. A few places on Earth still have anything like this, and people come from all over to see it. It gets bigger and bigger every year, said Monsignor Jamie Gilantalio, a longtime organizer of the High in the Sky happening, telling the Post of the event. Now, it kicks off Wednesday, July 9th for its 138th edition. Well, there you go. And there's a proper, priest, which is good, or Monsignor. The dancing of the colossal statue takes place several times over the course of the festival that began in Williamsburg in 1887, continuing a 1,500-year-old tradition brought to America by Italian immigrants from Nola in Campania that honors St. Paulinus. I don't remember what he did. As legend has it, aside from renouncing his riches, he also exchanged places with a young prisoner in the first century, and masses have been going to great lengths to honor him since, often flaunting his trademark lilies. So you put a pronunciation this a-hole late in the damn thing? New York Post, you are an asshole. It's pronounced Giglio, which would have been helpful as a pronunciation guide at the beginning of the GD article, you jackasses. Now, there you go. Apparently you just lift a big heavy thing for a saint. That being said, I just don't know. I'm going to look at my email and I'm going to see that my any future tourism of any kind to Italy has been denied here on and into perpetuity. So there you go. It would have been a much funnier article if I hadn't been saying gigolo. Or it's been it's been a much more funny article since I've been saying gigolo. You know, it is dealer's choice with this one. In our final story, and one you might really need to pray for my soul about, but how could I turn down this headline? I mean, y'all, how? I mean, finally, herpes have their day. Never thought I'd say that out loud, but if it works, doctors have figured out a way to use herpes to fight untreatable advanced cancers. I mean, I don't think politicians really like you calling them herpes to their face, but current mood kind of okay with it. Now, herpes has been called the gift that keeps on giving, and finally, that's actually good. Roughly 2/3 of the global population has been infected with herpes simplex virus type 1, which typically causes painful, unsightly blisters around the mouth. Now, the University of Southern California researchers have found a way to rebrand this sort of embarrassing sort of subject by genetically modifying. Do you want the T virus? This is how we got Resident Evil. I don't need. And thank you, Polly. I realized that it was a bad one. And had they just put the pronunciation in the front, I could have figured it out eventually. Or not at all. So really it's a hooked on phonics thing. But apparently they can modify this virus and administer it to patients with treatment-resistant or advanced form of skin cancer, along with anti-cancer medications. Now, in recent clinical trials, this 1-2 punch shrank tumors at least 30% in around 1/3 of the 140 patients. Nearly 1 in 6 saw their tumors completely disappear. Now, these findings are encouraging because melanoma is the 5th most common cancer for adult, and about half of all advanced melanoma cases cannot be managed with current available immunotherapy treatments, said Dr. Gino Kim In, a medical oncologist with the Keck Medicine of USC. Now, advanced melanoma means that the skin cancer has spread from its initial point of origin to other parts of the body, such as lymph nodes, organs, or even the brain. Now, immunotherapy can help the immune system to attack cancer cells, along with targeted therapy and radiation that are also common treatment options. The survivable rate of untreated advanced melanoma is only a few years, so this therapy offers hope to patients that have run out of options, that they can give to less aggressive forms. Now, in January, the FDA was granted priority review to RP1, the genetically modified herpes virus, with in tangent with the anti-cancer medication Opdivo. Now, this is only going to be green lighted for advanced melanoma patients whose cancer have not responded to immunotherapy. So this is definitely going to be a very, very long way before this is, coming out to, a CVS near you. Now, the idea is that when combined with the anti-cancer drug, the herpes drug will target and infect and replicate in the cancer cell to destroy them while sparing the healthy tissue around it. Now, this particular strain of herpes was developed by knocking out specific genes in the, simplex 1 virus, so it doesn't cause cold sores. So additional genetic modifications were made to the virus to stimulate immune system better to fight the cancer and help the virus more efficiently interact and kill tumor cells. So if you think about giving the herpes cells like the scent of the cancer, that's basically what they're able to do. They lock on, and then the immune system notices and has dealt with the herpes before and want to kill the herpes. So I mean, that's how I figured it, without the help of Miss Frizzle. But interesting. Now, some patients were seeing results in as far as tumor shrinkage and things like that within just a little bit or as little as 4 weeks. But the combination therapy is set up to be cycled every 2 weeks for up to, say, 8 cycles. Now, they were stunned with the difference between the treated and untreated tumors. So again, for people who have run out of things that medical science, Western medical science can tell them, this might be something that they're willing to look into. I know from my own personal journey and listening to, a lot of you guys' personal journey with either chronic pain or conditions that, there is a frustrating sort of hopelessness that kind of settles in when you realize that there's nothing more that the doctors can do right now. And it's not because they're a-holes or anything like that. There's just not a lot of, money in these sort of orphan, not fancy diseases, which I get. I get it. But it is sort of upsetting to realize you've gone to the end of the line in one particular, treatment style and have to go and do your own research and be your own advocate. So if there's any actual genuine wisdom, and this is actually not me telling you not to take it, this is actual genuine wisdom given out that I've learned in the last 4 years, you are the only person that knows your body. You are the only person who's been with your body since the day you are born. So if something doesn't feel right and you don't feel like you're listened to by your doctor, find a doctor that listens. And if you continue to have that feeling that, there is something that is not quite right, don't be afraid to tell the doctor, look, I've lived in this body for a long time, and I'm going to need you to trust me that I've looked at the owner manual and we're confused. That's why we brought ourselves into the Maytag man, you. So that being said, be your own advocate. You don't have to be sassy. You don't have to be mean about it, but you can advocate quite, loudly for yourself, because the sad thing I've learned in the last 4 years is that the medical, apparatchik isn't going to do it for you. You have to get out of your comfort zone and say, hey, this isn't working, or I researched this. I don't quite understand it, but is this anything that could be, good for me? So that being said, that's the advice I will give you to take. Now, I am putting out some videos today. We are knocking, and I say the royal we, Mr. Mo is finishing painting, and I am going to start going through all the things that I told him that I'd already gone through and organized. I'm going to reconnoiter and relook at everything. So there won't be a whole lot of extra extraneous streams this week, but I should be back in my room and back on the saddle, in the saddle and ready to go next week. So what I'm saying in saying all of that is I have to go pick out curtains and make sure I order them and then go rotate laundry and then go through my clothes again to start, clearing stuff out. Because Mr. Mo is like, once things are here, y'all, Mr. Mo, I have never done this in my adult life. But he was like, we need to measure and plan out where we're going to put stuff. I know that I told you guys this yesterday. I have just never, I am today years old when I figured out how to do that instead of eyeballing things at the furniture store. Mr. Mo was like, don't you make a little graph paper and you cut out the blocks? And the look on my face was like a dog doing algebra. Hell, me doing algebra. I was like, do we have graph paper? The things Mr. Mo has to deal with, but everything is on to deliver, and he measured, so he did all the measurology and the painting, and now I just have to look at all of my stuff and see if I can put it away in an organized fashion. Pray. We might be good. We might could be good, and this could be the most terrible thing. That being said, he is going to be hanging all the pictures, so at least they will be level, without you having to do this to your head. I have many talents. Hanging things and painting them are not one, and apparently measuring also not one. But I will see you guys in a little bit. I do have some videos coming out. I do believe there was one about Koberger, his friends speaking out. And then I have one about a missing mom in New Mexico, and one about an upcoming, and it's going on my list of a gajillion and 12 to do. I realize that. Documentary that Hulu is putting out about a very famous true crime case. Jody, come on. I'm already bad with names. Why are you? Hildentrout from Iowa. So that is going to be coming out later today. So have a lovely day. I'm going back to Lowe's because I didn't realize we needed stuff like light switchy plate thingies. So I'll be out and about. I'll chat at you later. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. But have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire, because honest to goodness, all this choosing, I would never be an interior decorator. It's just not my happy place. Not my happy place.